I wish that I could fly into the sky so very high, just like a dragonfly. I'd fly above the seas in all degrees, to anywhere I please. Let me hear ya! I want to get away, I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I want to get away, I want to fly away. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's go and see the stars, the Milky Way, or even Mars, where it could just be ours. Take this opportunity to say hello to somebody you don't know. Handshakes, high fives, hugs, kisses if you know them, kisses if you don't. That's a good start. You know, it's Valentine's Day. What's love in the air? You know, all different kinds of love. And so we're going to sing a power ballad right now from the 80s. So stand up and wail. Here we go. Stay standing and wail. 2, 3, 4. Got lighters, headphones. I've been around for you, been up and down for you, but I just can't get any relief. Swallowed my pride for you, lived in light for you, but you still make me feel like a thief. You got me stealing your love, baby, 'cause you never give it. And we can't relieve it. Well, I make you laugh and you make me cry. I believe it's time for me to fly. You said we'd work it out, said that you had no doubt that deep down we were really in love. But I'm tired of holding on to a feeling I know is gone. I do believe that I've had enough. thank you all for coming. I'm going to introduce today's host. Before I do that, so we've got a couple people who are going to be recording and taking pictures for an upcoming big event. There's a media-free zone kind of up in the corner over there, so if for some reason you don't want to be on, I don't know, we're not going really that deep, but anyway, if you don't want to be on camera, just come over here. But anyway, I'm going to introduce today's host. You know him, you love him, Mr. James Reels. Give him a hand.
Good night, everybody. Welcome to Sunday Assembly, Nashville. Happy Valentine's Day, everyone. We got a lot of great things to do today. So they gave me the keys to the car. Everybody, buckle in, hold on tight. It's gonna be a bumpy ride. But I think you'll like it. I love you more. Okay. Oh, this is my personal favorite part of the whole program.
Well, you're on the microphone?
I don't think I need your help. Put him in the corner. Anyway. This is my personal favorite part. This is the part where I get to look out and see all our lovely guests. So if this is your first time here at Sunday Assembly Nashville, we want to honor you by recognizing you at this moment. And remain standing so David can count you for our stats. Yes, we have to keep stats. Thank you. While he's doing that, I want to point out the restrooms. Thank you for coming, everyone. You are our honored guests. And we know that for many of you, it's a big deal to walk through that door. And we appreciate you for doing that. Restrooms are over here to your right, behind the welcome desk. So if you have any issues, there are also people out there that can help you with other things besides that. I'm not saying. I think most of y'all are party trained. I personally don't know. I'll be here all week, by the way. Oh, here's the best part. We actually want to hang out with you guys when we leave. So we always have a place that we go and meet. And lately, it's been this wonderful place called Blackstone Restaurant and Brewery. Excellent food. And beer, yes. Yes, over brewery. Brewery. I appreciate that. That makes it a whole lot easier to stand up here. Huh? Are you buying? Because if you're buying, I'm drinking. I'm just saying. Anyway, we meet over there, and please do come out and socialize with us. It gives us a chance to meet you. And the number one question we like to ask is, what is your story? How did you get here? Because it does matter. And you will find that you're not alone. And ultimately, that's what this is all about. We meet here at this location, Scarrett Bennett, on the second Sunday of each month. So, but you can also find us on the interweb. You can find us, let's see, on meetup.com/Sunday Assembly Nashville. Now, this is where all of our social gatherings are posted and where you can RSVP to get more involved with us, and we would love for you to do that. And of course, we're on Facebook at Sunday Assembly Nashville. We also have a secret Facebook page. You can sign up out in the lobby, or this is the way I prefer you do it. Go to Blackstone, make a friend, and friend them. See how that works? See, it's kind of conspiracy there. I need friends, okay? I'm not I'm not ashamed to admit that. Isn't that right, Marina? I'm not thank you, Marina. I know I got one. I'm losing one, I know for sure.
I never sent a request to you.
You don't even have Facebook, man. What? You can also find us on the internet at nashville.sundayAssembly.com. Sunday Assembly Nashville is also proud to be part of a global movement called Sunday Assembly Everywhere. And you can check that out at sundayAssembly.com. Page 2. Our motto is live better, help often, wonder more. Absolutely. Some days I wonder more. If that sounds good for you or to you, if those basic ideas strike a chord with you, then you should check this out a little more. It could be for you. Maybe it's not, but we're very inclusive, and that's what we strive to be. Sunday Assembly is a secular congregation that celebrates life. We have no doctrines. We have no deities. We are radically inclusive. Everyone is welcome. Our mission is to have a Sunday assembly in every town, city, and village that wants one. Our purpose is to help everyone live life as fully as possible. Today's theme is obstacles. And we have various ways of addressing that, and this is a huge topic, and this is not going to be comprehensive, okay? But I think you'll get, everyone will get something from this. I'm on the Wonder More committee, so if it sucks, anyway. Today, we're going to hear Shane Kozan's Instructions for a Bad Day. It's going to be read by the lovely Becca Green. Everybody welcome Becca Green to the stage.
Okay. There will be bad days. Be calm. Loosen your grip, opening each palm slowly now. Let go. Be confident. Know that now is only a moment, and that if today is as bad as it gets, understand that by tomorrow, today will have ended. Be gracious. Accept each extended hand offered to pull you back from the somewhere you cannot escape. Be diligent. Scrape the gray sky clean. Realize every dark cloud is a smokescreen meant to blind you from the truth. And the truth is, whether we see them or not, the sun and the moon are still there, and always there is light. Be forthright. Despite your instinct to say, it's all right, I'm okay. Be honest. Say how you feel without fear or guilt, without remorse or complexity. Be lucid in your explanation. Be sterling in your oppose. If you think for 1 second no one knows what you've been going through, be accepting of the fact that you are wrong. That the long, drawn, and heavy breaths of despair have at times been felt by everyone. That pain is part of the human condition, and that alone makes you a legion. We, hungry underdogs, we risers with dawn, we dismissers of odds, we blessers of on, we will station ourselves to the calm. We will hold ourselves to the steady. Be ready, player one. Life is going to come at you armed with hard times and tough choices, your voice is your weapon, your thoughts ammunition. There are no free extra men. Be aware that as the instant now passes, it exists now as then. So be a mirror reflecting yourself back and remembering the times when you thought all of it was too hard and that you'd never make it through. Remember the times that you could have pressed quit, but you hit continue. Be forgiving. Living with a burden of anger is not living. Giving your focus to wrath will leave your entire self absent of what you need. Love and hate are beasts, and the one that grows is the one you feed. Be persistent, be the weed, growing through the cracks in the cement, beautiful, because it doesn't know it's not supposed to grow there. Be resolute. Declare what you accept as true in a way that envisions the resolve with which you accept it. If you are having a good day, be considerate. A simple smile could be the first aid kit that someone has been looking for. And if you believe with absolute honesty that you are doing everything you can, do more. There will be bad days, times when the world weighs on you for so long it leaves you looking for an easy way out. There will be moments when the drought of joy seems unending. Instances spent pretending that everything is all right when it clearly is not. Check your blind spot. See that love is still there. Be patient. Every nightmare has a beginning, but every bad day has an end. Ignore what others have called you. I am calling you friend. Make us comprehend the urgency of your crisis. Silence left to its own devices breeds silence. So speak and be heard, one word after the next. Express yourself and put your life into context. If you find that no one is listening, be loud, make noise, stand in poise, and be open. Hope in these situations is not enough, and you will need someone to lean on. In the unlikely event that you have no one, look again. Everyone is blessed with the ability to listen. The deaf will hear you with their eyes. The blind will see you with their hands. Let your heart fill their newsstands. Let them read all about it. Admit to the bad days, the impossible nights. Listen to the insights of those who have been there but have come back. They'll tell you. You can stack misery. You can pack despair. You can even wear your sorrow. But come tomorrow, you must change your clothes. Everyone knows pain. We are not meant to carry it forever. We were never meant to hold it so closely, so be certain in the belief that what pain belongs to now will soon belong to then. That when someone asks you, "How was your day?" realize that for some of us, it's the only way we know how to say, "Be calm. Loosen your grip, opening each palm slowly now. Let go."
Thank you for that. Is this thing on? Thank you for that, Becca. Thank you so much. It's a small thing, but it can be huge when you have a bad day. And especially when you have to go through it and you don't have anybody to lean on. We are honored and very fortunate to have our guest speaker here today. He is Dr. Michael Hart. I'm really looking forward to what he has to say, and I know so many of you have expressed the same sentiment. A little bit about Dr. Hart. Michael Hart. He said I could call him Michael, so he didn't say anything about Big Mike, so I'm going to say Big Mike. I'm just kidding. Dr. Michael Hart is a child psychologist with 25 years of experience in teacher training, clinical psychology, and the diagnostic assessment of a full range of learning differences, including dyslexia as well as attention problems. He's the owner and founder of drmichaelhart.com and is currently providing webinars, online courses, and on-site presentations and trainings regarding the proper educational care of our dyslexic students. Michael enjoys mentoring other professionals and is intensely focused on supporting teachers, specialists, and parents as they become better informed and more experienced in the effective treatment of our dyslexic students. Today, Dr. Hart will share with us his talk, Why Jack and Jill Still Can't Read Yet. It's the yet part I'm interested in. So if you would Join me in welcoming Dr. Michael Hart.
Hello, everyone. I'm really pleased to be here today. This is our first time here, my wife and I, and it's such an incredible event. So I'm honored and very, very happy to be here today. I'm going to tell you a story, and it's something that has dominated my professional life for 25 years, and it's something that, until recently, I've gone from morbid fascination to a real true sense of hope. And I want to tell you about my story today and tell you about some wonderful things that are starting to happen. Oh, went quiet, okay. So I'm a psychologist. I've always worked with kids and families. And over the course of my career, I've developed an expertise in the evaluation and the diagnosis of all kinds of learning disorders. This thing called dyslexia is oftentimes very confusing for a lot of people, so I want to focus on dyslexia today. Dyslexia is actually the most common learning issue that we see in our schools. So, and there's an incredible thing happening right now. So I wanted to just take a minute to talk to you about what it actually is, because there's a lot of confusion out there. So I'm going to talk about dyslexia as a language-based learning problem which directly results in a person's difficulty with reading, spelling, and writing. And even math, quite frankly, because so much of math is really language-based. So when I say language-based, what I mean by that, I'm talking about how a person's brain is wired. And there's a proportion of us out there whose, this is a very technical term, glitches in the way they process certain types of language. It's very, very complex, but the bottom line is that there are very clearly parts of the brain that for some of us aren't as efficient. So when we are tasked with the job of learning how to be an effective reader, things break down for us. So that's what I mean by language-based learning. It's not a visual problem. It's not about just writing backwards or flipping letters or any of that stuff. This is really about how your brain is wired and how that matches up with what you're asked to do in terms of literacy development. The other thing that I wanted to mention about dyslexia is that this is truly a lifelong issue. There's a lot of myth perpetrated in the community about, oh, this is something that just kind of goes away after second or third grade. I would bet that there are people in this room who are going to start shaking their head going, yeah, I went through this. My kids went through this. A family member went through this. Somebody I know in my network went through this, because it is quite common. We're going to talk about its incidence rate in just a minute. But it's important for people to understand that it is a lifelong issue, because that frees us up to think about, well, if we don't catch it until really late, what can we do about it? I used to teach a group of master's level teachers. And, you know, we talk about in high school, do you guys still see people who are struggling with reading and they're going, yeah. I said, well, what do you do about it? He said, we don't do anything about it because we don't know what to do. And there's many, many people like that from first through fourth through eighth, that or through into college and life, that really it's important to understand how their brain is wired so we can think about how to support them more effectively. So, what do we know about the world, the grouping of people who are dyslexic? And this is very, very well-documented research. There is an ocean of data out there about this issue. And we know that up to 20% of the population suffer to some degree with dyslexia. And that means there's going to be a lot. Tennessee has 1 million kids in K through 12. So we're talking about 200,000 kids that to some degree are going to struggle with reading, writing, and spelling, and they're not going to get special services because it's on a continuum. So there's going to be people that are mildly dyslexic, moderately, and severely dyslexic. So it's become a major educational challenge to figure out how to more effectively take care of these kids. Now I'm going to tell you a story as we move along, and you're not going to like some of the things you hear, but it's the truth. And I've got to take you through that to get you to the other side. So we know what to do and how to support these students, these people, but there's a breakdown. So up to 20% of the population, let me make it a little bit more complicated for you. I'm going to add another layer at this point, because dyslexia is not the only reason why kids have difficulties with learning how to read. Obviously, there are social issues, there are cultural issues, there are political issues, but I wanted to make this point. National Assessment of Education Progress, they have a reading test that they give every year. 66% of all of our kids in fourth grade are quote unquote below proficiency. 66. So it's a horrifying situation. To make it worse, when you parse out the low income groups, 80% are deficient in their reading skills. How can that possibly happen in our nation? How did that happen? It begs the question, doesn't it? It's shocking, but these are real statistics. So I'll tell you a little bit about what's happening. What our teachers don't know. There's an organization called the National Center for Teacher Quality, and they assess university programs every year. And what they've learned is that 3 out of 4 of our elementary teacher preparation programs provide no training whatsoever with regard to how a child learns how to read. Can you imagine being a teacher, going through a 4-year, 5-year, 6-year program and coming out and not having a clue about how kids learn how to read? So you can see very clearly how there's just this massive chasm that has this disconnect that's happened, and we know what to do, and yet there are some very strange reasons why this is not happening. Now, when you talk about the secondary level schools, the people that are getting certification for middle school and upper school and that thing, that's even worse because, usually by then they're in content areas, right? So the idea of teaching them anything about literacy development is not even considered. So even though this is a lifelong issue, there's no support for the teachers. And that's a really key point I want to make. This is not about bashing teachers. This is not about bashing teachers. This is about giving them the support they need to do their job properly. And we can do that. And it's starting to happen now. So I know this is very hard to read, but I purposefully left this because obviously you can see this is a Facebook post, right? This is something I have to read to you because it was just so shocking to me. Decoding Dyslexia is an organization I'm going to talk about in a minute, but just generally in Iowa, the Iowa chapter, they did a survey, 250 teachers, all of whom are out of school in the field. We got about 114 responses. And it was basically a survey that asked the question, yes or no, upon completion of my degree, I was prepared to teach students with dyslexia to read. Now, you can't see it here, but what this means is that in the first bar at the top, it says K through 8. And that means these particular teachers got a special reading certification from the state of Iowa with regard to reading in particular. And when they were asked this question, 89% said no. 89% said they were not prepared. When you asked the next group that were certified in reading for the 5th through 12th grade, 90% said no. Bad enough, right? The last group, reading specialists. Reading specialists. 2/3 of them said, no, I'm not prepared. Dyslexia is the most common learning issue we have in schools. So how could this happen? And what are we going to do about it? I'm sounding like a downer so far, but it gets better. I know this is supposed to be spiritually uplifting. It will. I promise. So I want to explain it in terms of fragmentation in two areas of the world. First, fragmentation in the academic world. Dyslexia is a neurobiological issue. So who does the research on neurobiological issues? Who does the research on brain and cognitive science? That happens in the pediatric neurology departments in medical schools. It happens in doctoral programs for clinical psychology. And if any of you work in the university system, this is by and large not always the case, but far too often. They operate in silos, and they are in competition. There's always the MD, PhD thing. Of course, PhDs are never the same level as an MD. And they fight a lot. And then several hundred yards across the university campus is the School of Education, the ugly stepsister to these other two. And they hate each other far too often. And so I know this sounds incredibly simplistic. I know it sounds ridiculous. But I've asked top researchers in the world, I've asked top academicians in the universities across the United States, what is the problem? Why isn't there more cross-pollination amongst these groups? And I'm telling you, this is the answer. The School of Education says, don't tell me what to do. We reject your 50 years of research about how a child's brain is wired and how that impacts a kid to read, the ability to read. Still a downer, huh? But my God, how did that happen? How did that happen? The other piece of fragmentation for the last 40, 50 years has been for parents. Parents, of course, when your child has a learning problem and they go into the school and they expect, as you would with any other professional, that you're going to get taken care of, and so often the teachers don't have the wherewithal to be able to help you properly. And so there oftentimes comes times where they lose years, where the child, for 6 or 7 hours a day, 5 days a week, 9 months out of the year, is in an environment where they're being told, you are a failure. Something's wrong with you. You're broken. And that, you can imagine what that does to a parent, much less the child. So what happens is that historically, we've never had a platform for parents to aggregate and strategize and figure out how they can leverage their power in order to change the system. There's a couple of organizations out there, but for the most part, it's an incredibly fragmented group of people until social media. And you've seen this you've seen what happened in the Middle East, right? But for us, in our world, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and frankly, in our world, Pinterest is huge, because so many of the parents that are in charge of taking care of their child in school are moms, and they love Pinterest. So Pinterest is a very big platform for us. And it has created an explosion of parents who have been able to find each other and create communities and think about how to strategize and impact the educational system. One way, through directly interacting with the schools. Another way, through interacting through legislation to force mandates for changing the way we teach our kids. This has been the most profound thing that's happened in my entire career, and it's happened just in the last couple of years. And it gives me great hope. So I want to give you an example of this. There's an organization called Decoding Dyslexia, and it was started just a little over 3 years ago by these parents in New Jersey. They were on the train together. They were going into Manhattan for a dyslexia conference. And these are high-functioning, high-powered people, and they're saying, you know what? We need a parent-focused grassroots movement in order to organize and use our leverage to make changes for our kids, because we have been so frustrated for so long with no vehicle to fix it. So they used, in New Jersey, they started using Twitter, they started using Facebook. Within 2 years, there was a chapter of decoding dyslexia in every state in the nation. Hundreds of thousands of parents were able to come together through social media to share information, to let people know where resources were, to hook them up with people like me, who are the professionals who also spend a lot of time on those pages just helping people, to help them understand, hey, I'm in the beginning of this process. What's my next step? Hey, my child is going from middle school to high school. What should I expect? My child's going from high school to college. What do I do? And you post that on your Facebook pages, and within minutes, they're getting a deluge of really high-functioning people providing really important information for free. It has been absolutely fabulous, and it has a profound impact. And I'm a founding member of the chapter in Tennessee, and we have 1,000 parents on our page most days. So what has this really done for us? What has this social media platform really done for us? Well, prior to just a few years ago, we had no dyslexia legislation. Currently, we have 38 states that have enacted some kind of dyslexia legislation or regulatory changes. In 2015 alone, 17 states enacted legislative bills related to dyslexia. 1 year. 2016, we're in February. There's already 6 new states, including Tennessee. We have 17 states now with comprehensive dyslexia laws. That is completely extraordinary in my world. So it's given me, finally, after 25 years, I've been having the same conversations for 25 years. Finally, it's like we have real leverage here, and we are making a change, and kids are going to do better. Now, let me just talk for a minute about Tennessee, because I want you to know this is active right now in this legislative session. It's House Bill 2616, and it covers a lot of bases. We're talking about universally screening every single kindergarten and first grade kid, every single kid, because we know if we catch them early, we can help them avoid needless suffering for several years. So we're going to be able to identify them early. We're going to be able to then, integrate evidence-based intervention strategies in the general ed classroom. We're not even talking about special ed. We're talking about in the general ed classroom. We're going to arm the teachers with the professional development they need so that they know what they see, and when they see it, they know what to do about it. And that is a massive sea change. So we're going to do progress monitoring. We're going to do professional development. The state, we're trying to get a dyslexia advisory council started, which I'd like to be on. But I have to tell you that this is in the House right now, and it is a battle royale, a battle. So we don't know if we're going to win. But one of the things I ask of you today is, now that you're aware of it, please let your representatives know that you support this, because it will change millions of kids' lives.
Why would people be against it?
It goes back to what I was talking about with the education system. There are certain people who have a philosophical difference with regard to this type of intervention model that we're talking about, and they refuse to adopt what we've known for 40 years. So it's and then there's another component. Well, look, this is only 10 or 15% of our kids. We really need to focus on the 85%. And when you're talking about comprehension, and they're talking about the big thing now is comprehension, Tennessee Ready, all that business. The thing about it is that if you can't sound out words, you can't get a fluency rate that makes sense for your age and your grade. If you don't have fluency, you don't have comprehension. So if you don't deal with the foundational skills, you're building a house on a weak foundation, and it's not going to work. So the argument is, we've got to start here and catch those kids early. Some kids, you can put them in a dark room with a book and they're going to learn how to read. So I say some kids learn to read in spite of us, frankly. But there's far, far, far too many kids that they just need what we know to give them. So I'm super, super excited about this, and it leads me to a sense of hope for the future. So thank you for allowing me to take you to that trough there. But it's important to understand the context, and it's important to understand that right now we're in this beautiful time of history. And the more of us that know, the greater the awareness, the more we're going to be able to leverage our strength and our power to make sure that our kids get what they want. Thank you. Do we have, is there Q&A? No?
Thank you. Thank you. Hello. Thank you, Dr. Michael Hart, for that wonderful, wonderful presentation. Hang on a second. I could hear the passion in that man's conversation. This is more than, it came across to me as more than an occupation with him. He really cares about these kids, about these families, about people overcoming the obstacle of illiteracy. I told Dr. Hart that we have a very well-educated, very questioning group here at Sunday Assembly Nashville. I invited him and his wife, of course, to come to Blackstone Restaurant. And I'm sure you guys would probably delude him with what's the word? Deluge him with questions. Maybe I need to come see you, doctor. I don't know. Are you Is it hot in here or is it just me? Thank you very much. I think now's a good time to take a pause and for a moment of science. You over it yet? A moment of silence. The band? I was gonna say, I think that's an obstacle we're gonna overcome. We're gonna see what's out there.